Hey, Gritty Kids. Welcome back to Gritty Kids Podcast. I am Miss Erin, and I am so glad you are here with me. Today, I'm going to share a book that is really important and has helped me become a better teacher and a better parent. The title is What to Do When Mistakes Make You Quake. The authors' names are Dr. Claire Freeland and Dr. Jacqueline Toner. The illustrator's name is Janet McDonald. I am thrilled to share that one of this book's authors, Dr. Freeland, is here with us today. Welcome, Dr. Freeland.
Hi, Erin. Hi, Gritty Kids. It is a pleasure to be here with you today.
It's a pleasure to have you here with us. What a gift. Gritty Kids, this is a really special episode because Dr. Freeland is a really special kind of author. She is a writer and has written many books, but she's also a doctor, which is so cool. Dr. Freeland is a kind of doctor called a psychologist. Can you say that word? Psychologist. Some people call psychologists feelings doctors because they are experts in understanding all of the feelings people have, and they know special ways to help us understand and help with big feelings we might have. We will learn more about Dr. Freeland in a few minutes. First, we are going to read a little bit and talk about this amazing book, What to Do When Mistakes Make You Quake, A Kid's Guide to Accepting Imperfection. And then I have lots of questions for Dr. Freeland to answer so we can learn more about her and her work. Although I won't be reading this whole book, it's a little bit too long to do that, I will read a few pages and stop to talk with you and Dr. Freeland about them. Just a reminder, if you hear this sound, that means I am going to stop reading the author's words and use my own words to talk about the story. Then when I play this sound, it means I'm going to start reading the author's words again. If you hear this sound, that means I'm turning the page. If you are following along at home, you can turn the page with us. All right, I want to start by talking about the title of this book, What to Do When Mistakes Make You Quake, A Kid's Guide to Accepting Imperfection. Wow, that is a lot of words. I'm going to share what I think this title means, and then, Dr. Freeland, you can tell me if you agree. So, mistakes. I know what that is because I make mistakes all of the time. The word quake, I know means to shake. I remember that because those words rhyme. Quake, shake. If mistakes make you shake or quake, I imagine being scared or worried. I definitely do get worried about making mistakes sometimes. I know that a guide can be words or pictures or even a person that shows you how to do something or how to get somewhere. The last two words are big: accepting and imperfection. I think about the word accepting as a feeling you have when you know something isn't exactly how you'd like it to be, but you are still okay. And finally, imperfection means not perfect. Phew. Okay, so if I had to guess just based on the title, I would say this book will teach us how to feel okay when we make mistakes and things aren't perfect. Does that sound right, Dr. Freeland?
Yes, that's right. But if it wasn't, that would have been okay too.
Thank you for saying that. And I guess you're right. It would have been okay even if it wasn't right. I love that. Okay, well, we're going to get started because I would definitely love to feel a little less upset or worried when I make mistakes, or sometimes I get worried thinking about making mistakes in the future. I'm looking at the cover, and there are 3 kids on it that look like explorers or maybe guides crossing a big river on a wobbly rope bridge. Like I said, I won't be reading this whole book, but I will read the first few pages and then we will talk about them with Dr. Freeland. Before I even get to the first pages, though, I see something that I haven't seen in any other Gritty Kids books yet. On the top of the page is the word contents. Then there is a list with chapter numbers, names, and another number. This is a page in a book that sometimes is called the table of contents. The word contents just means what's inside. So inside of this book, there are 9 chapters. And at the beginning, there's a note to parents and caregivers. The numbers after the chapter names are where each chapter starts. So if I want to flip to chapter 7, I know I can just open the book to page 76, which is the first page of chapter 7. Here we go. Chapter 1. Let's explore. Explorers make discoveries. Explorers from long ago sailed distant seas and discovered new lands. They trekked through jungles and discovered groups of people they hadn't met before. Modern day explorers traveled in rockets to outer space. Others explored the depths of the ocean, diving to the bottom of the seas and observing fish and other deep sea organisms. One thing all these explorers had in common is that they investigated places they had never been before. Many kids are also explorers. They often explore the neighborhood, finding interesting places to play or enjoy nature. They might even explore a space in their own house or apartment, a little used closet, a box of old family photos, or an attic. Gritty kids, can you think of a place you have enjoyed exploring? Something special about this book is that you actually get to stop and draw pictures or answer fun questions. Here on this page, there is a space for you to draw or write about a place you like exploring. Most explorers take a while to make their discoveries. They use their map, but they may have trouble understanding where they are or what to look for. Rainforest explorers, for example, might explore some parts of the jungle that lead nowhere before they discover the river they are looking for. They might make wrong turns. They may even need to start their expedition all over again. What would you tell an explorer who says, "I'll only look for the new land if I'm sure I won't make any mistakes"? You'd probably want to convince her that mistakes are a part of exploring someplace new. Or suppose that after looking in 1 or 2 places, the explorer says, "I'm no good at this expedition," and starts to cry. You'd probably want to convince her to keep looking a little longer. Nobody likes making mistakes, but mistakes are part of life. People who have trouble accepting their mistakes might set their own rules. "I'll only explore this jungle if I'm sure I won't make any wrong turns." They also might blame others for their mistakes. "You told me to go the wrong way." They might say unhelpful things about themselves. "I'm no good at exploring." Take over and insist on doing things their own way. "You're going to send us the wrong way. Follow me instead." There are other ways people who have trouble accepting mistakes might act. They might have trouble coming to a decision. I can't decide which path I should take. Make a project too complicated because they want it to be the best. I'll make a precise map of the jungle, including each tree and plant. Wait to do things at the last minute because they are afraid what they do won't be good enough. I'll have plenty of time later to get ready for the expedition. Pay more attention to the mistakes than to the good parts. That wrong turn ruined everything. Or give up without really trying. I don't think that expedition will work out. Just forget it. Do any of these behaviors sound a lot like what you do? If so, you might be someone who has trouble accepting your mistakes, someone who tries really hard to be right all the time, someone who has a hard time settling for less than the best. If you can think like an explorer, make discoveries, make mistakes, make choices to accept challenges and keep going, you will learn that being good enough is being your best. If you could use some help with accepting mistakes, then this book is for you. Read on and start exploring how to accept and learn from your mistakes. I'm going to stop there, but wow, Dr. Freeland, I am a grown up and I still think I have a lot of learning to do. First of all, I just love everything you wrote. Gritty Kids, that's just the first chapter of 9. And even though it's technically a workbook or a guidebook, I love that it also feels like a picture book and kind of like a chapter book at the same time, and that you get to stop and do interactive things. That's really, really special. So, Dr. Freeland, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and then if there's anything else you want to share with us, you can. If there's any other parts of the book you would like to read to us, you can. But I'll start with a couple questions, if that's okay.
That's great.
Perfect. Okay. So, just from reading that first chapter, will you tell us some of the ways that we can learn from mistakes? And why is that really important?
Well, gritty kids and Aaron, people who are afraid of making mistakes might not try new things. For example, the only way to learn to ride a bike is to try it. To learn anything, you need practice. You may get it wrong at first, but with practice, you'll get better.
That's so true. I feel like I know that, but I forget about it all the time. I feel like I understand that I need to practice and I know that it is okay. And I remember doing things that were hard at first and then got easier. But sometimes there's things that just feel so frustrating that I just keep telling myself I can't do it. But you're saying that we really can change.
I am. The most important thing to change is how you think about mistakes.
Mm,
And yes, you can learn to think differently. For example, instead of thinking it's terrible if I don't get everything right,
mm,
think it's okay if it's not perfect. I'll try my best. Then you'll feel less stress and you'll be more likely to give it a try. Remember, gritty kids, mistakes are part of learning.
mm. Okay. I feel like that is helpful, the way that we think about it, because I know for myself, a lot of the actual sort of big feelings I get about making mistakes happens before I even try. All right, my next question is I would love to learn a little bit about when and why you wrote this book. I know you said at the beginning that you wrote it because there were lots of kids maybe who were needing some help with this skill, but could you tell us a little bit more about why and when you wrote the book?
So, the first edition of this book was published in 2016. The revised edition came out this month. We wrote this book because we were seeing so many children having difficulty with mistakes. throwing away paper after paper because they made a mistake, or not wanting to read aloud because they might make a mistake, or refusing to take responsibility for mistakes. We wanted kids to learn to face their fears of making mistakes and feel better about themselves.
Wow. That's wonderful. And I know this isn't your only book. How many books have you written?
So we've written 7, and actually our 8th book is coming out in August of this year. It's a picture book about how the brain makes sense of information from our senses. And then I have another book with a different publisher coming out in 2026, which will be announced soon.
Oh, my goodness. That's a lot. Because these books, although they have really beautiful illustrations and they feel really fun and like a story, I can imagine that the time and effort going into a book like this might be a little bit of a bigger task than maybe just a more traditional picture book. So, wow, that's really incredible. I am going to ask you one more question. There's a lot of information in that first chapter for kids to think about and for their grown-ups to think about. I think that we as teachers are starting to talk a lot more about shifting our thinking and how the brain can be a tool that can help us and how understanding our brain can make us more resilient and gritty. But it is a lot of information. So if we only remembered one thing after we turn off this podcast, what would you hope it is?
I think the main thing is to notice what you're thinking and change what you think, challenge your thoughts so that you feel more comfortable and are more willing to try new things and to learn new things.
I just love it. Well, what a special opportunity this was to learn from an expert like you, Dr. Freeland. Thank you for spending time with us and letting us read some of your wonderful book. I am so grateful for the books you have written and the important work you do for kids.
Well, thanks for having me, Erin, and thanks, Gritty Kids. Bye.
Bye. If you would like to learn more about what to do when mistakes make you quake, Dr. Claire Freeland, Dr. Jacqueline Toner, and Janet McDonnell, there are links at the bottom of this episode that a grown-up can help you open. Thank you for reading with me.